Beavis and Butthead. All right, folks, we are back with another episode of On the DELO. And today I have Dorie Morales. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. I thought I would butcher it, but I didn't. What does this mean to you? Our vision is a world where people live, work, and play sustainably, if I can say that right, leaving the world a better place for future generations.
Well, that's our mission at Green Living Magazine. So everything that we do on a day-to-day basis, we're making sure that we're making the world a better place for future generations.
And Green Living Magazine, if you are watching video, is your publication.
It is.
That is correct, yes. So let's start, Dorie. Let's start with the fact that you moved here when you were 7. So prior to that, where were you and what were you doing? And I understand from what I can tell based on my background is that looking up stuff is that you're very close to your dad.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So what was going on before you came out to Arizona?
So from 0 to 7, I was in New Jersey.
Okay.
So my dad had a huge garden.
Yeah.
And so it was probably an acre of all natural fruits and vegetables that I grew up eating, like amazing plants and vegetables.
That's cool. And do you garden at all now, or?
I don't, but my husband does. We have an agroponics system.
Really? Is that one of those things that stands up and you put water in it? And
It's actually like a whole fish aquarium.
Oh,
like a
yeah.
Fish tank. And
Okay.
so we've got tilapia in it, and then the waste from the fish actually fertilizes
Okay.
the vegetables.
Do you eat the fish?
We have never eaten the fish, but I want to.
You
'Cause
do
we
want to.
feed them all organic
Yeah.
food and everything like that.
Yeah. Are they big fish or?
Yeah, small, medium.
Yeah. Tilapia. That's the famous fish of a bodybuilding diet. So that's what all the bodybuilders eat is tilapia.
Really?
Yeah, to get shredded. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't ask me. I used to make that with just all sorts of weird stuff. But anyways,
Because you were a bodybuilder, weren't you?
yeah, for like 5 minutes. Yeah. now the body is built. Now I'm just old, and I appreciate my body for what it can or cannot do, where it's at the moment. So, before you were doing your own thing here, where were you working out here?
I've been in the magazine, like sales, and then also in the magazine industry for years. I started with the Apartment Guide magazine, so multifamily.
Yeah.
And then my former business partner and I started a magazine in Tucson called The Apartment Showcase, and we sold it to the Apartment Finder.
Gotcha. That's a pretty good sale, right? The Apartment Finder, I think, is the apartment magazine still to this day and age, isn't it?
Well, it's became a monopoly, and they're all owned by apartments.com now.
Okay. So I guess the magazine business is an interesting business for people most people listening to this that don't know how it works. Like how does it work? What are the politics within it? You know, is it a very close-knit group of companies and people, and do you know everybody in it?
The magazine industry is kind of different than most industries. It's like if a lawyer or a trade association for restaurants, there's like associations, but for the magazines, there's not a publishing organization. So
Really?
I've always wanted to say, let's all of us publishers get together and talk about best practices and different things like that. But there's really nothing like it.
Really? So it just kind of feels like everybody's on an island on their own, right? Just
unless you create different relationships. So I try and connect with other media companies and other partners like Lexi and I, who's been on your show, on like, how can we both, like, what can we do to work together, and people can find out about your show and learn a little bit more about green living. And the same thing with like Fabulous AZ, Cindy Saucy.
Yeah.
We've done a couple things together. And
So you just kind of synergize each other's markets and see who can kind of cross-reference with each other.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Andrea Evans with Front Doors Magazine as well. Her and I have done some collaborative things. And I think it's so good to be able to tell someone, because she came from event planning and she didn't know anything about magazines. So her and I sat down, had coffee, and I told her like everything she needed to know.
Yeah. Okay.
About starting a magazine.
Right. Yeah. And Green Living's been around for how long now?
12 years.
12 years. Yeah. 2010, right?
Yep.
Okay. And what was the antithesis to start this?
My former business partner, some people came to him and said, why don't you start a lifestyle magazine in Scottsdale, Arizona? And he's like, what are you, crazy? There's like 300 of them.
Yeah.
And then we did our due diligence, and some other people came and said, what about a green magazine? There's nothing like it on the market.
And explain, what's your definition of a green magazine besides the obvious? What is it?
Well, it's an eco-conscious lifestyle magazine, so all things green, and a lot of people don't connect the dots, and health and wellness is huge.
Yeah.
And we just did our last reader survey, and that's like the number one thing our readers are interested in is health and wellness. And then number two is responsible, sustainable travel. And so we've been doing a lot with travel, and a lot of people don't connect the dots there as well.
I would think that, without the health and wellness thing is so dear to my heart, and when I do think of Green Living as a magazine, I wouldn't think of that as being like one of the top, if not the top things that people are going into to read about and understand. But if you think about how green or organic we are as an ecosystem within ourselves, it makes sense. And so I would assume that part of your writings or your writer's writings is going out and finding that new and cutting edge information on how people can be healthier.
Definitely.
And weller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything from supplements to products and anything that you put on your body or in your body.
Do you have people that vet that stuff, or people that try it, or do you just kind of talk to specialists that are out there in the field that kind of give you their recommendations on things?
I would say both.
Both, yeah.
For sure.
Okay. And this is Arizona specific, or no?
No. If you want to pick up the magazine, you would pick it up in Arizona, but we have subscribers nationwide.
Nationwide, okay. There is a lot of writings, though, about just Arizona stuff, correct?
There is, but then there's also some things that are national and
Or
global.
national based, okay.
And global.
And do you, with the magazine and with developing it, has it, in 12 years, just because of the way business is in the magazine business and all that, has it transpired to more online than, in hand?
Our core readers are 25 to 55, but the sweetest spot is still like 45 to 55, 35 to 45 next. So a lot of people are still reading the print magazine.
Yeah, okay.
And the millennials aren't as much yet engaged. So once I think that the millennials get more engaged, they'll be more digital. But I think the feeling of holding a magazine and touching it, as opposed to like flip.
There's not many touchy magazines that are out there. I have the Luke and Eric who own Taste of Arizona magazine, that one. Again, it's just I like to touch it and feel it. And you kind of get excited to have something. Yeah, I even have a Star Wars magazine that I order through the mail just so that I can read the stories and look at the pictures, which is kind of cool. Because staring at something online for too long, like your eyes, especially at this age, you're just like, I'm exhausted.
And then you gotta zoom in sometimes.
It's
recently, we just increased our point size because of our reader demographic. Because we're like, wait, our text is too small. We need to increase it.
That's too funny. Does social media come into play with the way that you put your magazine?
Definitely.
So what are some of your biggest social media plays? Like, what do you guys enjoy?
We love doing Instagram lives. We're doing reels, and then we do events on a monthly basis, which is a huge way for us to connect with the community. And so we put those on Instagram Live as well, and then Facebook and Pinterest. We haven't been doing as much as we need to. We had a huger following on Pinterest, and then Twitter and LinkedIn as well for more of the business community and our business articles as well, because we hit on technology and businesses that are doing good and social justice and different topics like that.
Do you have a whole sales team that does the advertising aspect of things, or did these people now follow, come and find you after 12 years in the business? Or
it's a little bit of both. I do have one sales rep. I'm looking for more, but myself and her, she's in Southern Arizona.
Okay.
And then we are having a lot of companies finding us because when you Google green and eco-conscious, there's really not any other choices right now.
Yeah, there's not much out there. the aspect of not just the health and wellness, but the other things, the other items that you promote in here are really cool. I mean, there's just a whole plethora from cars to clothing to architecture to home.
Home
Yeah,
is another area that people are really interested in as well.
yeah. I mean, it's really cool. And then when you look at people that are really interested in this stuff, it's kind of like how I formed the bar restaurant niche. Like, this is what we do in insurance. We're good at it. We're specified in it. You have a niche here, and you have an audience that loves this niche and probably looks forward to it every month.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And they can't wait to come to like our next event and learn and connect. And we just did an event on sustainable design, how to do sustainable design every day. And the audience was so engaged and asking so many questions and wanting to stay after. And the event ended at 8:30 and we didn't get out of there till 9 because yeah. And I mean, I learned so much too. I didn't know that you could be like a vegan interior designer and really the off-gassing that happens when you have a leather couch.
Yeah. Off-gassing, I totally subscribe to that. It's absolutely horrid to think of all the chemicals and everything that just comes up. And yeah, that's how do you formulate your events? Like, where do they come from? Do you just kind of like figure you're going to look at this topic or go to this place? I remember a long time ago, I was at an event with you across the street.
Correct.
The Lexus dealership.
Yep.
Brand new one that had opened. Yeah. And you had a whole plethora of like different, I think there was a lady there with one of those gardens, the things that you grow. There was another like.
Oh, that's a vertical garden.
Yeah. There's
Tower garden.
Tower garden. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Tower of Power. Growing lettuce in a Lexus dealership. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, the event, I've been to a couple of your events actually, and they're great. So like, if you're thinking about your next event, like right now, what is it? It's got to be a big process because you're putting all this stuff together. You're trying to herd cats and, finally you get to the date and you're just hoping that, this many people show up and then, this many people show up and you're hoping that they all get a value out of it and they want to come back.
Definitely. And I try and think out of the box. For example, we had our best of issue, which was in September, and Mayor Gallego won Best Green Leader. So we had a big event, and I actually interviewed her at the event, which was really awesome because most of the time when you think of a politician being interviewed, I interviewed her about leadership and her personal lifestyle being green and like who really mentored her. And it was a really engaging conversation, but we had it at this place where it's called Arizona Fashion Source, and they do on-demand cut and sew outfits.
Oh, wow.
So you can basically like put your design on a printer and then it comes out and they sew it. And so
That's
I was
cool.
wearing like a one-of-a-kind dress that was made off a printer, so there's no water waste. There's no waste. It's unbelievable. And like,
Wow.
most people wouldn't think like, oh, an awards dinner where there's 16 different categories and we're going to have it in the middle of like a fashion warehouse. But I like to...
That's cool because there's a lot of awards dinners that are not green. And by that, it's just a whole plethora of bullshit and overspending and, who's wanker is bigger than the other and, pat on the back sort of thing. So to actually do something and show that, you can get some really cool clothes and do it off a 3D printer that's amazing. Did you get video of that?
We did.
Yeah.
And there's pictures of like Mayor Gallego dancing with the models because they're models in all different shapes and sizes and really cool things like that.
Right on. So, okay. So you weren't always quote unquote green, or are you even green? I mean,
well, I totally live the lifestyle, but I wasn't 100%. My husband was more.
Yeah.
And a lot of people always think, oh, it's the female. And I'm like, no, my brother-in-law is like an environmental engineer and my husband like grew up watching Jacques Cousteau, and their mom was very holistic and always read labels and was looking at everything that she put in the kids' mouths.
That's and that's a good point too, because again, green living is not just about, hey, I'm a hippie and I've got an what is it, a yurt? What are those things called? Yurts or yurt? Thank you. Yeah, yurt. Yurt's like a yogurt or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm a hippie with a yurt, and I sit by a fire. Really, what you put into your body is green too. And I completely subscribe to that. So, I mean, from your perspective, how important is it with all the stuff that you've seen to really, read labels and understand, what you're putting in your body so your body works?
Reading labels is totally huge. And then also what you buy too, looking at packaging. If it comes in a can, it's probably not that great for you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to the farmer's market, like one of the most sustainable things you can do is shop at a farmer's market or ditch plastic water bottles.
Yeah, 100%. You notice this was glass?
I did. And I'm drinking out of a can too.
There you go. So we can recycle all that. Yeah.
I think packaging is huge. And one of the people that spoke at our sustainable design event, she has a new line and it's completely all organic. And then she even looks at the packaging. It's Forest Standard certified and it can be biodegradable and composted.
Okay.
And then instead of using palm oil, which really hurts the rainforest, she's using a lippe butter.
Oh.
So, I mean, everything she does from start to finish is in that product. And that's how I kind of look at things. And when you start to look at like, wait, is this in glass or is this in plastic? And how much, you get a box and all this.
Right.
It comes in a huge box and then it's got plastic and it's got more packaging and then it's wrapped in another box that's got more insulation in it and how much waste that is.
Amazon's the worst.
It is.
If somebody orders from there and you get a big box that's got, something that's, tiny in it, it's crazy. So I think most people would agree we have a big issue. And whether you're green or not green, or whether you believe that there's global warming or don't believe in it, look, at the end of the day, there's waste-filled dumps being filled up full of just crap. There's people putting crap in their body. There's there's a reality to all of that. And we see this downgrade of society because, not really any fault of the people. It's just people just do what they do. They just get in their routines and they do what they do. So here you are with something that, you're probably not going to change the world, but you're certainly going to change some minds and you're going to do your part. And that's got to make you feel good.
I guess definitely to increase your tribe, because how do you make a difference? What can one person do? Nothing. Join a community and make an impact. So the fact that people are learning and they're finding healthy products from, oh my gosh, I had GI problems for years, and then I found this aloe vera product that was in your magazine and it changed my life. Those are the things that really...
That's amazing. That makes you feel happy. Yeah.
And then another guy we had that wrote for us for a year, he had stage 4 cancer, and he changed his whole lifestyle. And we had people calling from all over the United States. Hey, we want to meet Rick Coggins. He writes for you. Or will he be at your next event? I have stage 4 lymphoma. I want to connect with him. So.
That's really cool. Wow. That's changing lives right there. And like you said, a little bit at a time. So how do we grow that tribe? Like, what's the path going forward to grow that tribe, to get more people involved?
I'm really tapping into other communities and places where you won't think of seeing green living, and going to different multicultural events, and bringing more Hispanics and more Native Americans and Indians.
Just all inclusive. Yeah. And
all together. And
how does green living get more involved with, say, the local Arizona restaurant industry?
I would love to. I probably need to reconnect with the restaurant association and then you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're talking about all this packaging and all these things. And, I know the restaurant industry pretty well. And I hear the pattering of, I don't want to say complaints, but, people that they're trying to make a living and their bottom line and all this sort of stuff. So sometimes, for them, a green lifestyle isn't necessarily the most cost efficient. And I know that there's a better answer than that, and I think that we could probably work on that together and figure that out for a lot of these restaurants. And there are a lot of restaurants out there that are doing some great stuff, and they are doing some green, and I think they should be acknowledged. And I'm sure you do acknowledge some of them in your magazine, time to time. But, I think that could be another path as well, almost like a highlight.
Definitely. Well, we have a whole Savor section.
Yeah.
So you and I could collaborate with one of the restaurants, and I'm always about starting with a simple thing. Like, you don't have to go put solar on your restaurant, but, you can look at your plates. Are they biodegradable?
Yeah.
Are they compostable? Yes, they may be a little bit more, but if your customers demand them and say, I'm not going to eat out of styrofoam because what styrofoam does to your body, and you think about it like the heat, the food, and then and it melts and all of it, it's disgusting.
No, it's yeah.
But then, could we get that restaurant to compost, or could we, get that restaurant to work with a local farmer instead of going to large mass-produced farms?
Yes, and that would be amazing just to even have a handful that do that. And I do know of a few, and we've talked about them, one right down the road from us. And how do we help those restaurants by bringing more people in so that they can stay open so people like us can also continue to support them?
Definitely. We could look at doing an event
Yeah.
at one of them, or maybe we do some sort of like restaurant industry event.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, you want to be involved in something like that, we're definitely in for suggestions and everything. Based on the demographic, you already told us what the demographic is. Would you say the younger demographic is more prone to be a little bit more emotional towards being more green, or would you say that there's also an older demographic that's like up to a point in their life where they've seen so much bullshit, and now they're just kind of like fed up and they want to be more green? Or is it a combo?
It's a combo.
Okay.
Definitely. The millennials, I think, definitely really care about the planet, but there are a lot of people in the 65 plus that are like, oh my gosh, I want to make an impact before while I'm here.
And let's talk about green in the aspect of having stuff. Okay? Like, there's a huge older generation, and I hate to say it, but my mom is one of those, and it's interesting because my mom is very green in the aspect that she's the cleanest person when it comes to food, where she gets her food sources from. She literally, making a salad, will wash every piece of lettuce individually. Yeah. Everything's organic. She doesn't go out to eat at all. No bad oil, nothing. But when you look at organics from an aspect of stuff, that generation seems to have just collected a whole bunch of stuff. And they collect their parents' stuff, the great-parents, and there's all this hand-down stuff. And then you just have rooms full of stuff. And so do you think this younger generation is kind of changing? Because now you don't need, even with your phone and your pictures, you don't need file cabinets anymore. Right. You don't need all this stuff.
You don't need boxes and boxes of photos that you can scan on your computer and have access to.
Right. And you don't need 800 outfits.
No.
And
you also can shop at Goodwill or, an organic cotton manufacturer or, an on-demand, one-of-a-kind piece.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. And when you look at the aspect of technology and how it can help with, more environmental friendly aspects, I mean, the printer is a great example of something like that, I mean, clean water. Like, here's my conspiracy theory with you. Not with you personally, but why aren't we drinking out of the ocean? You know damn well somebody has created a machine, to get rid of the salt so we have plenty of water. And I know you know the answer.
I don't know the answer to that, but yeah. I mean, I'm sure someone is on the verge of doing that. Because I just went to an event with the Arizona Sustainability Alliance, and we were talking about water. And it's like, until we can drink the water from the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Arizona. I mean, Arizona alone, with a lot of questions and a lot of people just kind of scratching their head going, we're running out of water. What's going on?
Definitely.
Yeah. And we're growing.
Right.
I mean, the city just keeps growing and growing. Now, speaking of growth, have you seen, with any of the new construction going on, them utilizing more, eco-friendly sort of building?
I think it depends on which industry. The multifamily industry, not so much. There's very few builders that are doing green because it's a little bit about your ROI and then when you're going to sell it and all of that. But there are some housing developers that definitely are looking at building code and doing more eco-friendly things. And the city of Flagstaff demanded all new builds have to be EV ready.
Okay.
And so... and there are a few apartment complexes that have EV ready. But if you're a developer and you're not looking at EVs and you're looking at the projections of how many people are going to be driving EVs, you're missing the boat.
So besides demands from Flagstaff, are there things out there that you can tell people that might be incentives for people to, I know solar's like had all these incentives. Are there other incentives out there for people to maybe change the way that they live?
Well, for sure, the EVs, there's a lot of rebates with that. You can look at SRP or APS, and especially if you're a business, you can get an electric car charging station put in your business.
Oh, wow.
And so that, depending on what type of business you are, they're out there charging for 30 minutes. And if you're an interesting business, they may come in rather than sit in the car for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But also water, with the bill that Governor Ducey passed, there's a lot of incentives through the state to pull out grass and different rebates to conserve water.
I did that, pulled out all the grass, all fake grass now, and I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great, and it's pet friendly, and the poop picks up a lot easier, and the dogs love it, and they run around on it. And, summertime we were a little worried about it, but we got through our first summer, and, animals are pretty smart. Like, if it's hot, they're not going to just stand on it, at least my animals. So we did okay, put an umbrella out there, and it's made a huge difference. I mean, our water bill went way down. It's just a great way to conserve.
Definitely. And then I'm always big about small little things like turning off the water when you brush your teeth. You can also, my husband turns off the water in between rinsing, and then he'll have a bucket in there, and then he'll go use that bucket to go water outside.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And
yeah.
Same thing when you have people over for guests over and you have all these empty water glasses, you put them into a big bowl, and then you go water the plants around your house and outside your house.
Just little things that can be done. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
Switching from like having no plastic in your home and then going to stainless steel or glass containers, and there's so many jars that you can use. Jars can be like made into like a beautiful vase, or you can put like even your tools if you're a guy, or whatever type of, beans or whatever.
Yeah, that's really cool. What are some of your favorite like products that have been advertised through your magazine over the years that you remember that you're like, wow, this is cool, I got to get one?
Well, in terms of food, I love Garden Goddess. She makes fermented food, and she's got beet kvass.
Really? Yeah, check that out.
It's definitely in the magazine. And I think also just in general, like what companies are doing. Most people don't know that Fry's has a whole net zero waste, net zero hunger strategy, and so they partner, and they've diverted so much waste from a landfill.
Yeah.
So.
Do you? That's amazing. The fermented foods thing. Do you talk to a lot of back to the health and wellness portion? Do you talk to like a lot of doctors as well?
We've talked to some naturopaths, some homeopaths, as well. Yeah.
And sure.
And then we just had an article on Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine. She's awesome. I just went to her, and I'm now on tinctures, and then she told me what type of diet to eat as an Ayurvedic doctor.
Yeah.
Diet, sorry.
Yeah. No, those are really cool. I say I nerd out on all this stuff, and obviously it being my podcast, I can talk about whatever I want, and so I talk about a lot of that stuff that you bring up here. So, okay. Owning a magazine and, having all the different, action items that you have to do on a month, and having deadlines and all that sort of stuff. Personally, for you, what does a typical day in your life look like?
I get up in the morning, like around anywhere between 3:34, and then I meditate, and then I do a little prayer, and then yoga.
Cool.
And then I usually have a quick meeting with my husband to kind of touch base on different things with the kids and all of that.
Yeah.
And then I start working at home. Then I go in the office, and I work in the office and meet clients and go on great podcasts like this, and then I normally have a couple events in the evening, and then I go to bed and get up and do it all over again. So it's funny, I have some rapid fire questions, so I already know what one of your answers will be, but isn't the morning time a blessing? Like, did you go out and look at the moon today? I did not. I was so bummed that I didn't wake up for the eclipse.
I went out at 3:30 because my dog had to go to the bathroom, right? So I always go out with her because we have owls, and I look up and I was...
What type of owl?
Horned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the great horned owl outside my house too.
Yeah, and they make cat sounds like meow, meow, because they think they're gonna, So I have to stand out there with my dog and make sure that she's okay because I don't want them swooping down. But I look up and I see this red, what I thought was like, I thought it was over. I thought they were here to get me. I swear to God, I thought the beam was coming down. It's like, here it comes. You know, you're going on that journey that you asked for. No, it was the moon. But it looks so close to the house. Did you take a picture? Yeah, I did. Yeah, but it doesn't do any justice. Like, you just have to, I ended up getting the binoculars. I was like, okay, that's the moon. But I almost woke up my wife because I thought, like, hey, honey, I'm going to be gone for a while. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, the mornings are the best. So, all right, this has been fun. So tell me, people, obviously, they can subscribe to the magazine. What's the best way to subscribe and get all the latest and greatest and newsletter and all that sort of stuff from you?
So if they go onto our website, greenlivingmag.com.
Okay, and I'll put this all in show notes.
And they'll get the newsletter that way, and then you can connect with us, Green Living Mag, on all of our social media handles from Instagram to LinkedIn.
Okay, and I'll fill all those in the podcast notes. I would love to even talk to you. You know, in the future, I'm doing these healing hospitality events. We did one yesterday at the Churchill, and everybody did a Wim Hof breathing technique, and then after that, we all got in a cold plunge.
I love the cold plunge. I am like,
I'll show you the video. It's amazing. But to be able to have you guys even associate with some of these healing hospitality events that I'm doing would be awesome, you know, because I think it all fits hand in hand with the health and wellness and what we're trying to promote.
We should definitely talk, because I was thinking for my holiday event was doing something that was stress-free and looking at sound healing or some sort of modality that we can have people come and have a little bit of
That's great.
peace.
So my first event was a sound healing event. So, yeah, all right, we'll talk offline. But I do want to throw some rapid-fire questions at you, and there's no wrong answers, okay? These are your preferences. Hard copy or online?
For me?
Yeah.
I'm a hard copy.
Okay. Burger or salad?
Salad.
Yoga or spin?
Yoga.
Woods or the ocean?
Ocean.
Motley Crue or Willie Nelson?
Motley Crue.
All right. 6 a.m. or 1 a.m.?
Somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between? Yeah, fair enough. I guess I meant staying up until 1 a.m.
Oh, okay. Getting up. I'm definitely a early to bed, early to rise. But sometimes I do burn the candle on both ends. Like last night it was 11 and 4:30.
Oh, so. Yeah. No, I'm in bed at 8. I'm all done. I can't even stay awake if I tried. Wine or whiskey?
Wine.
Okay. You like whiskey?
I'm starting to like it.
Yeah.
I think there's a peanut butter whiskey that wasn't too bad.
Interesting. There's a lot of good liquor stores out here. At least I insure them. I don't drink, so I wouldn't know. But electric or gas?
Electric.
Fishing or hunting?
Fishing.
Okay. And last but not least, Bigfoot or Nessie?
Bigfoot.
So anyways, all right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. That was a lot of fun. This definitely gives people a great perspective of what you're doing, and I'm grateful for it. I think it's awesome. We need more of it, and we need more people to, in my opinion, to form community and be, part of something a little bit greater than just the individual, consciousness. It's the greater consciousness of, all of us. And,
to get people to just think twice.
Yeah.
Like, do I need that plastic water bottle? Like,
right.
Really? Can I get a reusable glass that I can use again?
Little steps, right?
Yeah. Simple solutions add up to big differences, but it's been a pleasure, David.
Yeah, no, thank you.
DELO.
I know David. That's my mother calls me David. It's interesting. You're not my mother, trust me. But no, thank you everybody for listening. If you can please share the podcast if you found it interesting. I got some old episodes in there. The sponsor of the podcast is myself. I do this for complete enjoyment, as you can tell, and more great episodes coming up. And again, please check out the magazine and become a subscriber. I think you'll really. I mean, look at this thing. It's got. I know if you're listening, you can't hear it, but you can't see it, but you can hear the pages. There's a lot of good stuff in here, and it's just fun and it's just responsible. Damn it. So, anyways, thank you for listening. Give me a 5-star if you get a chance. It all helps, and love you, and peace out.